Here, when steam was king. This video is the starting of the video that I've been working on for 3 years. Is how the railroad got its water. We're at Cottonwood Springs right now, and this is the location of their main supply of water for the Las Vegas area. And a pipeline from here ran all along the mountains here, down into the valley, across the valley, and then up on a mountain to a 500,000 gallon or close to 1,000,000 gallon reservoir. And from there it went down over the nether mountain and started supplying a pipeline to the different locations to provide the steam locomotives back in 1909 to 1913 era with water. That's when this project was constructed, and it stayed in operation until about the 1950s, maybe even into the early 60s. And then steam locomotives were phased out, replaced with diesel electric locomotives, and now they had no longer a use for all the water. But this is where it all began, and it's a wonderful location. This is now a private park for the residents, and I'll tell you, it's a beautiful park. But it's heavily posted. So I'm filming from public land, the road right away. And I did a couple of videos earlier, probably about 2 years ago, on this location. As you can see, it's private. On this location, and I'll tell you what, there's a lot of nice history here. Well, a lot of water came out of Cottonwood Springs. And here's one of the pipelines that came out. And it looks to be about a 4-inch line. Now, nothing is buried very deep, and there was a reason for that. I'm going to go up here and feel it and see if it was hot or cold. It's hot, so it's dry. No water flowing. Okay, we were walking down the wash a little bit ago, and I showed you the 3-inch pipeline. This is now the 6-inch. And I'm going to stand corrected on a few things on what I've been stating throughout this video. This was not a welded pipe. This was a 6-inch pipe with couplings, screw together couplings originally. So we have the original pipe here, and you can see the couplings. And it keeps going up there, and then it goes back into the ground where the wash stops. And this is right at Blue Diamond and Red Rock Canyon Road. It's visible, and you can see all the silver straps on it. It's been repaired, so this is still in service, or just was shortly a few years before. Okay, we're going to go down to the next location. Well, this was their first major trestle they had to build. And you notice we have 2 pipes here. I'm not sure on the ages of them. I know the first pipe was put in somewhere between 1909 and about 1913. But if you look at these, You know, men would be with their pipe wrenches, probably chain type pipe wrenches, putting these couplings together, screwing this pipe together, building each one of these trestles to be placed in the ground, digging holes to mount them deep. They're probably a good 3 feet in the ground. And then if you look, this pipeline was boxed in. It had a wooden box around it, and that was protected from freezing and protected from the weather. Now there's about 6 or 7 trestles they built along the whole route, maybe more, but this is the largest one that I know of. And then they placed a second line in. I don't know when, but it's been being repaired, so it's still used off and on, or used all the time, I don't know. But the pipe itself has a cable running on top of it, and the cable is anchored over here on these timbers, beyond these timbers into the ground, with a big turnbuckle. And the purpose of the cable was, if it washed away, the cable would support it until they could get out here and repair the wooden trusses. That was trestle that was holding it up. Now the newer pipe has metal stanchions, trestles, on concrete pillars. Remember, this was all done by hand. No power equipment. No backhoes, no excavators, no pipe lifting track machines. Good old people with arms and legs, picks and shovels, wheelbarrows, hauling all this pipe in, hooking it together. A lot of work. Okay, we're going to head down to the next spot that I know of. Now you can see the old pipe there. It's got a valve on it and a riser. But if you look at the pipe, it's got big rusty holes in it. So that one's not being used anymore. But there's a plastic one right next to it that they put in place. And if you want to know if these pipes are being used, we got a beautiful little stream and waterfall coming down. This was flanged and bolted together, so I'm pretty sure this was a repair job. Probably in the 60s or 70s. Here's the old steel pipeline going off that way. But if you look, if you're wondering if this is still used, there's that plastic pipe they put next to it. And it's got quite a leak in it. And you can see it goes over across the gully, end up, goes clear up into Blue Diamond up there. Well, you can tell the pipe comes through here. You can see it. And then we have a large gate valve. We have a repair coupling. So the pipe's just right underground there. And it just keeps right on flowing. A little hard to tell. This is where it turned off of Blue Diamond Road. So it put about a 30-degree bend in it. And it crosses, went underneath this housing project. I'm sure they tore it all out when they was building this. So our next location we're going to try to find is where the T was in the valve for the water tower. Okay, this hole you see right here, I'm going to have to move and then move back. My shadow is covering it. This is a 6-inch pipeline, and a 3-inch would have came off of this. And I'm going to line you up as best I can. It's hard to make it out, but we start right here and we travel up, and this is what went to the water tower in Arden. It was a 3-inch line that fed it, and that was in 1918, 1912, somewhere in there. Exact dates that far back are getting hard to trace. But this is where the 3-inch line went. So buried just below the surface is a 3-inch pipeline that had water that carried it all the way over. And I don't know if you're going to be able to make it out or not. There's a dark tower out there that you can kind of see, and that's where the water line went. This is kind of a booger to find, but we did come up with it. And this is Wendy Bill's Adventures and Oddities, and this is lost history. This pipeline went all the way up there. You see these cans sitting here? That was probably 1-gallon cans of food for the people that dug this ditch, because they probably made a camp here, and they sent them off with picks and shovels on a surveyed line to go straight that direction, and away they went. They probably had some small camps along the way, but this is a line going. I'll get off this little knoll here. Okay, this is a pipeline. It went all the way up into Red Rock Canyon and Blue Diamond by those hills, the biggest hills that you can see behind us, those big straight slopes. That's where the line went to, that direction. And this direction, you see the mountains in front of us. Up on top of that hill is the big reservoir. Now, I want to thank everybody for watching. There's going to be a part 2. Part 2 will be the line going up to the reservoir, a short distance, and then the reservoir itself, and then we're going to be coming down the opposite side to where the trains actually got the water. So keep on watching. And this is probably going to end up being like a 3-part video. And then I'm going to have another part that's over by Calso, where Calso's water station was, and the big reservoir, and the big trip back up in the hills into to find the spring that they received their water from. So when steam was king, big steam locomotives went everywhere across this nation. I want to thank everybody for watching. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends about this. Tell your enemies about it. Maybe they'll watch it. I don't care. The more people will watch it, the better off I am. Thank you very much. Have a great day.